rise. Together, we will rebuild stronger, safer, and united. Hope lives here. The time by the office of the Prime Minister is
6 minutes after 9.
You're inside the Consumer Hour with Nora Gay Banton.
Good morning to you. It is Monday, November 24, 2025. We are alive and well, and for that we give God thanks. Good morning to you. If you're listening on the 90 FM band, 90.3, 90.5, 90.7, or 90.9 on your FM dial, we appreciate your company there. If you are listening and watching on our YouTube channel, good morning to you. The channel is Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. That's Nationwide 90 FM LIVE with a number 2 beside that. So go on over there and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I want to say good morning to those who are in the YouTube chat. First in the chat this morning, I am seeing Rupert Wilson. Good morning to you, Rupert Wilson. Also seeing Errol Townsend. Top of the morning to you, sir. Errol. Annis Campbell Murray. Good morning to you. Merlin Russell. Morning to you as well. Errol. Again, good morning. Nadine Bell. Good morning to you. Rider 40. Top of the morning. It's this Marvelly Daily. Good morning to you, Monique Hunter, Albert Morgan, and all the others over there in the YouTube chat. Good morning to you. If you're listening from our mobile app available for free on the Google Play and the Apple App Store, Revo News, good morning to you as well. And those on our website, revonews.ai, whether you are listening or watching on our YouTube, on our website, good morning to you. It's Monday morning, and before I jump into what we have planned for this morning, I firstly want to say happy belated birthday to Giovanni Williams. Bad Jummy. Good. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday to you, Gio. I hope it was a good one. And I want to say happy birthday to my good friend, Javon Keys, Mr. Extraordinaire. In everything. I'm not even have to say any category. In everything. Mr. Extraordinaire. Happy birthday to you, Javon. Hope you have a great day, and may the Lord continue to bless you. All right, it's a Monday morning, which means it's time for Immigration Mondays. And inside Immigration Mondays, today we're joined by U.S. Immigration Attorney Opal Lee and Canadian Immigration Consultant Nadine Mahabir. Good morning to you, ladies.
Good morning, Nora. Good morning, Nadine. Good morning to our wonderful and loyal listeners and viewers. Happy Monday.
Good morning, Miss Nora. Good morning, Miss Lee. And good morning to our Nationwide family. Thanks for joining us.
All right. So if you're new here, if it's your first time joining us, then inside Immigration Mondays, we usually get an update on immigration-related matters out of the United States and Canada from both Opal and Nadine. And then after that, we open the phone lines. So for those of you who have any questions relating to acquiring a visa or filing or getting citizenship or any of those matters, then you can give us a call or leave your question in the YouTube chat. So we're going to get those updates now. I'm going to start with you, Nadine, and then Opal.
Okay, thanks, Nora. So, Nora, talking about citizenship, Immigration Canada, there has been a long-standing issue with persons who may qualify for what is called citizenship by descent. So, Nora, what this means is, let's say your parent, one of your parents, your mother or father, is a Canadian citizen, and you were born outside of Canada. Now, if your parent, who is a Canadian citizen, was also born outside of Canada, it means that they could not have passed on citizenship to you, their dependent child, or their child. It doesn't matter what your age is. So over the last few years, that rule has been contested to say, yes, it doesn't matter if the child is born outside Canada, even if that parent was also born outside Canada, they should still qualify for citizenship. So last week, November 21, it says Canada has taken an important step towards modernizing its citizenship laws. So, which means now that if your parent was born outside Canada, you the children or child would also qualify for citizenship by descent. However, one of the things they're saying, Nora, is that the parent would need to show ties to Canada. So, you know, again, they want to see that, yes, the parent maybe is living in Canada, you're doing your taxes, you're working. So there are certain things that still need to be detailed. But for now, if you have a parent who is a Canadian citizen that was born outside Canada, and they have children that were also born outside of Canada, they may now qualify for citizenship. Before, you would have had to sponsor the child, Nora. Thank you.
All right. Well, important update there for those who may have questions about acquiring Canadian citizenship or being a Canadian citizen by descent. An update to that there for you. Thank you so much, Nadine. And Opal?
Yes, Nora. So we have good news and we have bad news. I don't even know which one you want first, but let me start with the good news, and then it just gets bad from there. All right, so the good news is that the federal judge recently has blocked the Internal Revenue Service from sharing information to help ICE with deportations. So deportations. Remember, back in the a few months ago, I had spoken about people or immigrants who don't have any lawful status, not authorized to work. They were filing their tax returns. Sometimes they have children. They want to claim the children as to claim the children to get back some of their monies that they have been putting in, or they want to do the right thing. They're working, whether they have papers or not, and so they want to give back their taxes. So they would get what's called an ITIN and file those. And what ICE had said, listen, IRS, come on, give me that information. And then immigrants were like really worried because now the IRS already know when you file your tax return, they know your name, they know your address, they know ICE could come knocking on your door, and they will see especially those people who are that's filing their tax returns without a social. That's going to be like a telltale. If you're using an ITIN, that's a telltale that you don't have any lawful status, more likely than not. And so good news is the federal judge has now blocked it. We'll see how long, but now IRS cannot share that information. Now, the bad news is, one of the bad news is that USCIS also just this past week announced that they're going to be adjusting certain fees, certain criteria of fees from January 2026 because they're doing an inflationary adjustment to fees. And so it's not a lot of them. I mean, for example, some people, they may think, okay, it's not by so much. For example, like instead of $100 for the annual asylum application fee, it now be $102. For example, the work permit, which was $550, is now $560. But of course, you can go to USCIS to see a list of all the fees. The final bad news is that USCIS, well, I think we're up on a break. I can talk about that afterwards if you would like.
Yeah, no problem. So we'll take the break, and when we come back, we'll get that final update / bad news from Opal re in the US.
Decorate and redecorate your space with water-resistant, colorful, and fast-drying paints from Edgechem Paints. The time by Edgechem Paints, changing lives 1 gallon at a time, is
9:16.
This is a public service announcement from JPS. JPS is urging customers not to pay anyone to have their electricity service reconnected. Customers are reminded that unauthorized reconnections can be extremely dangerous and can result in serious injury, electrocution, or damage to property. This practice is unethical, illegal, and could delay restoration efforts. If anyone claiming to represent JPS requests payment for reconnection services, report it immediately to the nearest police station or JPS. JPS thanks all customers for their patience as teams continue working to restore power safely and as quickly as possible. That was a public service announcement from JPS.
Good morning. You're back here inside the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM. I am Nora Gay Banton. It's Immigration Mondays. We're joined by U.S. Immigration Attorney Opal Lee and Canadian Immigration Consultant Nadine Mahabir. Before the break, Opal was giving us some updates / bad news from the U.S. and we have one more to get from Opal. Go ahead.
Well, happy Thanksgiving. But anyway, the final is that recently, last week, there were a number of immigration judges fired. They're back at it again. And so there was an announcement made. They were looking for people in the legal profession to send in their applications, but they don't call it immigration judge, Nora. They're saying they're looking for a deportation judge.
Wow.
You make that what it means, but that's the announcement. It says they're seeking those in the legal profession who would like to apply for the position of deportation judge, and they have the fees, the income that you'll be making. But what does that mean?
That sounds like it's strictly deportation. There's no other immigration matters that those judges will attend to.
Exactly. So it's not good. It's really not good. And us in the legal community, we're thinking that, those judges that are losing their job is for people who we think are like impartial and they're doing their job and they may be given good, favorable outcomes. Mm-hmm. And so the more favorable outcome it looks like, or it appears that they do for immigrants, they're going to lose their job. So now they're either lose their job or deport immigrants. That's what we're thinking is happening. So a number of immigration judges are being fired, and they're now looking for deportation judges.
Well, all right. Well, thank you so much for that, Opal. Lots happening in the United States, as was expected, given the election results. But we are here to give you the information and do with it what you will. All right. So we're at the point in the program now where we take your calls or your questions from the YouTube chat. So if you have any immigration-related questions for the United States or concerning Canada, then you can give us a call. Let me remind you of the numbers to call: 876-630-9371. There's also 630-9372, 630-9373, 630-9374, or 618-6730. All right. We also take your questions from the YouTube chat. We're live on YouTube. It's Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. So let me go on over there to see if there are any questions just yet. Yes, there is one question in the YouTube chat. This one is for you, Opal. It says, if your U.S. visa expires April 2026, can you travel in February for 3 weeks?
Yes, you should be able to. It's still valid. Just a disclosure that when you're entering the United States, of course, it's going to be up to CBP, Customs and Border Patrol, whether or not to admit you. But that goes even if you had 5 years left on your visa. They've still reserved the right to let you in or not. But yes, there's still plenty of time.
All right. And a question for you, just following up, Nadine, from the update you gave. Citizenship by descent for persons who were not born in Canada. Is there any criteria to state how long you should be living in Canada as a person who was not born there before your children can qualify for citizenship?
Nora, I don't believe they have stated all the details as yet.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it is 3 years, but I would have to look in once they, of course, once they publish all the details, then I can let you know.
Right.
But I believe they were looking at about 3 years. And as I said, they want to see that the person has some ties to Canada. So whether you're living there, working there, or you're working for a Canadian company outside of Canada, I guess they just want to know that, yes, you are going to be living in Canada.
Well, that's for the person who was born outside, that person is living in Canada, or the children?
If the child would be born outside Canada, and you're saying the parent is also outside of Canada.
Right, but they would have gained citizenship by being in Canada before, you know?
Okay, so that's different.
Okay.
You became a naturalized Canadian citizen, then if you have a child who is born outside of Canada, that child would qualify for Canadian citizenship.
Okay.
It is if your parent was, because remember, if your parent was born outside of Canada to a Canadian parent, then that parent would have qualified for citizenship by descent.
Right.
The issue became now when that parent who was born outside of Canada has a child outside of Canada.
Right.
Why is it that that child didn't qualify for citizenship by descent as well? So that has been the issue. Are you following me, Nora?
Right. So is it that they're now saying that that child of the parent who was born outside of Canada qualifying for citizenship by descent, that child can now be a citizen too?
Right.
Okay.
Right, but they're saying that the parent needs to show some ties
to Canada. Okay.
So we don't have all of the details as yet for that. I guess they'll probably be publishing that over the next couple of days or weeks.
Okay. And it means then that not all children of such parents may qualify, because some of those parents may not be able to show any ties because they were just, born to parents who were citizens, but they lived outside for all their life.
Probably. So what they'll need to do is to take a look at the details once it's published to see. There's also I believe you call it an intermediate assessment.
Okay.
So whether or not you believe you meet the criterions, you could still submit it, and I guess you can always ask for humanitarian considerations when you submit the application.
Okay.
But there is some other details that they have published in the interim, Nora. I'll look it up again and share that on my Facebook page.
All right, no problem. And
Nora?
Of course, yes. Opal?
Yeah, piggybacking on that conversation, if I may, in comparison to the United States, and I think that's what the Canada is trying to do. We have something in the U.S. where not because whether you are a naturalized citizen or you're born in the United States, if you have a child outside the United States, in Jamaica or so, you can't really do consular birth if it is that you have not ordinarily been residing in the United States. So, for example, to pass on that citizenship without actually filing, having need to file for that child, in order for that child to derive citizenship automatically, the parent must have been physically present in the United States, or its outlying, possessions for 5 years prior to the child's birth, and at least 2 of which must be after the parent was 14 years old. So you can't just, there are certain, why I'm saying this, there are people, for example, in Jamaica, who they're U.S. citizens, but they're not residing in the United States. They've been in Jamaica for the last 10 years,
Exactly,
right? 15
exactly.
years, have their businesses, doing their work, but they are still U.S. citizens because, you can't really just take away the U.S. citizenship from them.
Right.
So they are in Jamaica doing their own thing, maybe visit the U.S. Once a month or twice a year or something. No, if they have a child in Jamaica, that child is not automatically, more likely than not, it's not going to be automatically a U.S. citizen. They would have to file the I-130, the immigrant petition, to file for that child.
I see. And that kind of makes sense, because if you follow that path, then every child coming in a generation after that would automatically be a citizen of either the US or Canada, and it doesn't necessarily apply, I think. So it makes sense to me that you would have to apply directly for citizenship if you want that child to be a US citizen, because really and truly, you're not in the US.
But I guess the difference with Canada, Nora, is for the Canadian parents. So we're talking about the first generation, so maybe
Right.
we can differentiate it that way, right? So for the first generation child who got their citizenship by descent, that parent doesn't need to show ties to Canada. That, you're living here, working here, doing your taxes, whatever the
Right.
requirements will be. Right. So the first generation who obtained their citizenship by descent, that does not apply.
Right.
It is the second generation now where that information applies to them.
Right. Understood. We have a caller on the line. Charlie, good morning. Good morning, Charlie.
Yes, ma'am.
Or-
My question to the Miss Oval. Yes, ma'am. It's about my passport, right? I did get my passport, received my passport and thing, but I asked for them to install the my previous visa number inside it and details, but I never get no the see none of that. It's only just a Caribbean community passport and receive and nothing else.
Wait,
So I'm
good
asking
morning,
you-
sir. But
Yes,
if you're
ma'am.
talking about PICA cannot put a visa in or do any notification. They can only renew your passport. So you're going to get an empty passport. If you need a visa or if you need to renew your visa, you're going to have to then take that new passport and you're going to apply to the U.S. Embassy or the U.S. Consulate. I'm not sure if that's what you're saying. So you're saying PICA gave you a new passport but did not put the visa notification in that passport? Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
ma'am.
Yeah, but they can't do that. They wouldn't be able to do that. I don't think.
Only the U.S. Embassy can give you a visa. So if you're traveling, you would need to travel with your old passport with the visa in it, along with your new passport.
All right, you travel with
Well,
both passports.
Okay, so that means the visa have to be updated.
No, hold on a minute, sir. Do you currently have a visa in your old passport?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it still valid, not expired?
It's expired, still valid.
Then you need to.
No,
It is expired,
Yes, ma'am.
so it's not valid.
so
then.
you need to go to the U.S. Embassy. You need to apply for
No,
a new visa.
it's still valid because it was considering.
Because it was what?
The PO was considering whether she have to reject it or witness.
You,
But she didn't totally reject it.
So you don't have a visa. If the person doesn't have a visa, they have to apply for the visa. If you need assistance with that, contact your office and maybe do a consultation.
No, then
So I can assist you.
maybe Mr. John Kirby could make a good decision in the Pentagon then.
I'm not sure what you're saying, Charlie, but the bottom line is if your visa expired, then you would need to apply for a new visa, and then that new visa will go in your new passport. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
All right then. We're way past the break, so let's take the break and then come back with more.
Spectrum Insurance Brokers provides quality insurance coverage and risk management services. The time by Spectrum Insurance Brokers Limited, setting the industry standards, is
9:31.
This is a public service announcement from JPS. JPS is urging customers not to pay anyone to have their electricity service reconnected. Customers are reminded that unauthorized reconnections can be extremely dangerous and can result in serious injury, electrocution, or damage to property. This practice is unethical, illegal, and could delay restoration efforts. If anyone claiming to represent JPS requests payment for reconnection services, report it immediately to the nearest police station or JPS. JPS thanks all customers for their patience as teams continue working to restore power safely and as quickly as possible. That was a public service announcement from JPS.
For over 30 years, Chris and Charles has been financing your goals, dreams, creating your great moments. Celebrate the occasion with us. Borrow $1 million, pay less than $25,000 monthly, and get 30% off your processing fees. No guarantor needed. Call 876-920-4189 or WhatsApp 876-838-9028. Conditions apply. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Good morning, good morning. You're back here inside the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Nora Gay Banton. It's Immigration Mondays, and we're joined by U.S. Immigration Attorney Opal Lee and Canadian Immigration Consultant Nadine Mahabir. And we are taking your calls, your questions in the YouTube chat as well. The numbers to call, 876-630-9371. That goes up to 4, and 618-630. Just before we go into any further questions, I see someone asking about contact information, so I'm going to allow Opal and Nadine to give their contact information for those who want it. Opal and then Nadine.
Thank you, Nora. So for Opal Lee, the phone number in Jamaica is 876-854-3599. That's 876-854-3599. In the United States, it's 954-358-2020. That's 954-358-2020. Or you may visit our website, www.flowjamlegal.com, or find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, also Flowjam Legal. Over to you, Nadine.
Thanks, Opal. See, now Opal has already started celebrating Thanksgiving already.
Right?
Sorry, I was going to wait for the last because Thanksgiving is actually Thursday here.
Right.
But yes.
For Nadine Mahabir, our contact number in Jamaica, it is 876-754-4391. That's 876-754-4391. In Canada, it is 1-416-249-5885. That's 1-416-249-5885. Our email address is info@cdnintl.com. Thanks, Nora.
All right, thank you, ladies. Here's a question from our YouTube chat. Remember, we're live on YouTube. It's Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. You can ask your questions in the YouTube chat as well if you are unable to give us a call. This question here, it says, my visa, U.S. visa, will expire in 2 years. However, my passport expires with my maiden name in 6 months. I have changed my name on other IDs. Do I need to renew both my visa and passport at the same time to reflect my married name?
Right. I would not review. If I have 2 years left on that visa, I would not be renewing it right now. I will keep that visa because you can go renew it. There's no guarantee. Make it very clear. Not because you had a visa before, renewing it doesn't mean they have to give it to you. So what you will need to do, you can still travel with the maiden name or married name, whichever one is in there, but walk as well with a certified copy of the document showing how that name changed. So whether it's a marriage that caused your name to change, a divorce, whatever that may be, you want to walk with that with your birth certificate. Certified copy.
All right. I forgot to ask earlier in the show, but there was some news about the temporary protected status. I don't remember who was making an appeal for it. Is there any further update on that, or
no further updates yet? So yes, the congressperson has been imploring that this should take effect. I would have broken it right here nationwide if it had. I would be jumping for joy. I'd be like, yes.
I have a strong feeling it's not coming, but it is what it is. Reminding you of the numbers to call: 876-630-9371. That goes up to 4 and 618-8255. Rickety Rocket on YouTube here, commenting on the citizenship discussion, saying Jamaica has very relaxed citizenship rules. Even grandchildren of Jamaicans can obtain citizenship by descent with very little hassle. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is what it is, and that's very true. You can attain Jamaican citizenship by descent. For great grand, and all you have to do is just show that line of parenting, and then you can acquire. That is so true. That is so
I have a question for Nadine on the same censorship, Nora. So with the first part, so if you're saying that, Nadine, if you are a U.S. citizen and you have Canadian citizen. Canadian citizen, and you have been living in Jamaica for the last 30 years, not even set foot back in Canada, and you give birth to a child in Jamaica, that child is automatically going to be a Canadian, even though you have not been in Canada for the last 30 years?
Well, you have to apply for the citizenship certificate first. So first you apply for the child's Canadian citizenship certificate and then the passport. So technically speaking, pretty much, yes.
Wow. Okay. You hear that, US? Hear that, US? I know you guys are listening. Come on.
So that first child is likely to be, will, as long as you apply. Yes, will become.
The first generation, not a problem. It's the second generation born outside of Canada. That's where the challenge is.
All right. Well, and I as I was saying before, I guess it makes sense because, well, the first generation, I guess they're saying, you're a direct, what do you call it now? Descendant of that person. But then if that child now has a child, you are in Jamaica, you got citizenship by descent, you had a child, and that child gets citizenship by descent. Everybody's in Jamaica, but you're just automatically Canadian citizen. I don't think that makes sense, especially if you have never set foot in Canada. So I guess the requirements coming out now make sense. In the YouTube chat, Katie Buello, is this a serious question?
You're just having fun in that YouTube chat.
Because
I keep smiling. I don't know if everybody in the YouTube chat, they're just laughing, they're just having fun. Maybe they're celebrating something.
Don't know.
Holidays coming up.
Katie Buello, I'm going to ask the question because, maybe there's somebody out there who probably is in a similar situation and wants to know. Katie Buello says, Nadine, my final lover at Canada. I can go up on my Canadian visa and don't come back and get residency. How it go?
Good morning.
How it go?
Actually, yes, you can, Nora. It is a pretty serious question. So when you think about it, if you have a visitor's visa and you decide to come and visit your partner in Canada, if things change and you decide that you would like to remain in Canada, please do so legally. you can apply for your extension as a visitor, and then yes, you can do an in-Canada spousal application. So Katie Boileau, yes, if you're fan of Love of Canada, yes, you can come. As Opal always says, you're not supposed to be coming as a visitor with immigrant intent. But if you come up and things change and you decide to stay, and you have enough funds to support yourself, or your partner can support you, sure, no problem.
I was just about to ask what that spouse has to show to be able to successfully sponsor the partner.
Well, Nora, actually for a spousal application, so remember it's a two-step process. First, he or she would need to come up as a visitor, and then you're applying for your extension as a visitor once you are in Canada. Because bear in mind, you're only given a maximum of 6 months when you come up as a visitor.
Right.
Now, when you're applying for your visitor extension, that's the first step. And, yes, you want to show that your partner is working or you both have savings. When you're doing the spousal application, the partner does not need to show that they're making a certain amount of income. Once they're not on social assistance for reasons other than disability. So for a spousal application, whether the partner is in Canada or outside of Canada, you don't need to show minimum income requirements. However, you do need to have submitted your tax returns because you'll need to show your notice of assessment for the previous year. And of course that you're not bankrupt, you don't have any criminal record, that you, the person who is doing the sponsoring, was not sponsored by another spouse within the last 5 years.
Okay. And what of the spouse who you're sponsoring? What about their criminal record or anything like that?
Yes, they will need to get a police record from any country they've lived in for more than 6 months since, I believe, turning age 18.
Okay.
And of course, immigration is going to be looking at the relationship to see, do you have a genuine relationship? Did you just come to Canada and decide you're going to stay because you want to get your status, or do you guys really have a genuine relationship?
Okay.
And again, they're looking at your visits, communication, and so on. Yes, Opal?
Sounds familiar?
No, because she mentioned that 5 year, and it's pretty it's pretty telling that we also have something like that, Nora. There are people who they get married to someone, they get their green card to that person, and within less than 5 years they're divorcing. Now they're a green card holder, right? No permanent resident. They divorce a person that they got the U.S. citizenship, the green card through, and then they come back and say they're filing now for their girlfriend or boyfriend that's back home or wherever. Within the 5 year period, those applications, they usually get denied. It's very hard to overcome that you didn't just marry that first person for the green card to then go ahead and marry somebody else now to give them a green card in return.
Business marriage, very popular. Quick question just before we go to the break. Someone is asking, if you have become documentary qualified and you have a valid visitor's visa, can you still travel?
Absolutely. So you can that visa, that visiting visa is still valid, still good. You can travel all the way up until such time as a visa is canceled, which usually when you attend the immigrant interview at the consulate, that is when they will cancel that. And hopefully if your immigrant visa interview went well, they'll replace it with an immigrant visa. But until then, you can continue to travel on a visiting visa.
All right, we're up on another break. We're going to take the break. When we come back, we have a caller on the line, and I see some more questions coming in the YouTube chat.
Fill all your prescriptions, get cosmetics and other pharmaceutical items at Mannings Hill Pharmacy, located at 34A Mannings Hill Road, Kingston. Telephone 924-6280. At Mannings Hill Pharmacy, they stock all the hard-to-get medication. The time by Mannings Hill Pharmacy is
9:45.
Outperform, outlast. With top performance. Jackama. Reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Pan select tools, free parts and free repairs. Free parts, free repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-6111-4. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
Good morning, good morning. You're back here inside the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Nora Gay Banton. It's Immigration Mondays. We're joined by U.S. Immigration Attorney Opal Lee and Canadian Immigration Consultant Nadeed Mahaber. We are going to go to the phone lines now. We have Lydia on the phone lines. Good morning, Lydia.
Hi, good morning. There's 2 things I want to ask, but first I just wanted to get some clarification on the citizenship thing. Sir Nora, did you say great-grandparents, or did you say grandparents for citizenship by descent for Jamaica?
I was saying grandparents, great-grandparents, no?
Okay, because if memory serves me correct, you can only go back up to a grandparent.
Okay.
And you can go back up to one grandparent. So if you have one grandparent who's a Jamaican, you can apply for citizenship by descent.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and Ireland does the same thing too.
I see. All right. Thank you so much for that.
All right. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was I know this person who got married to a U.S. citizen. She moved up. Everything was going great, and then the relationship got abusive, and they were in the process of getting her green card and stuff, and then she was advised by a police officer that it's best that she leaves the country, but she won't be able to come back.
Good morning.
Yes. So I just want to know.
What did the police say to her?
It's best to leave the country, but she won't be able to come back.
Won't be able to come back because they were in the middle of sorting out her green card, and because she had to leave this relationship, and her papers were sorted out.
So my inclination is to say this, and police officers don't get offended. Never take legal advice from a police officer.
I did tell her that. I did say that. Yes, but she left, unfortunately. Yes, I know she doesn't know if she can return to the United States, even though she's still married.
She should never. She could have stayed there in the United States and adjusted her status. All she would have to do is, even the I-130, that's what her spouse would have filed, she could have converted or requested that I-130 she will go ahead and file the I-360, which is the VAWA, the Violence Against Women's Act, file the application and substitute and request for the I-45, that for the green card to stay put, and while she go ahead and file the I-360 instead to replace the I-130. So she had not. If she has already left the country, you can still have her contact me. We could still go ahead and assist her, but she's going to need 2 things. Still need evidence of the marriage being bona fide, so show that this was not a marriage of convenience, show whatever assets they have together and liabilities, number 1. And number 2, she's going to need evidence of the abuse.
Okay.
Whether it be physical, emotional, but she's going to need strong evidence of both. So you can have her, give her my contact information and let's do a consultation.
Okay, that sounds great. So should I just hold for the producer to get the information?
You can, or you can just keep listening because the information will come soon.
All right, wonderful.
All right.
Thank you so much.
No problem. We have some questions in the YouTube chat. Here's one. This person says, I'm a legal permanent resident wishing to go to Jamaica in December. About 6 years ago, I was issued a citation for selling a person under 21 years alcohol. I did a court diversion program, community service, etc. And the person is asking, will this affect me returning to the States?
I would suggest that if they did a PTI, which is a pre-trial intervention, and there's no conviction, then there's really no problem in traveling because there's no conviction.
Okay. All right.
So, but if the person would feel safer, I would say do a consultation. That way, I could take a look at the criminal record myself and give them a proper advice.
All right. Here's another one. It says, if you're studying in the U.S. and contemplating,
oh gosh, that sounds stressing you out. Let me read it. Let me see.
Right, because it's the person's in. Well,
oh,
right.
All right.
All right. So if you're studying in the U.S. and you want to adjust your status, how do you proceed at the end of your study? The person is also planning to do PhD studies as well.
So the first thing, you need to lawyer up. Go seek a consultation, get legal advice. There are different ways that you can get to remain in the United States after your study. One, as Nadine and I always say, you could find love. That's number one. Number two, if you have an employer who is willing to sponsor you. It's very difficult now, especially with what's going on with the H-1B, but it is still an option. If that employer sees that so much potential in you and they can prove that, they need you over somebody else who's a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, and they're willing to sponsor you and pay the big monies to go ahead and sponsor you, then that's an option. I just think that this person may need to do a consultation, a full consultation, so they could discuss all their options.
All right. There's a caller, Henry, on the line. Good morning, Henry.
Yes, good morning. Are you guys hearing me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to make a comment based on the caller that just called about the situation with the young lady and the marriage in the U.S. And taking advice from the police officer. And I just want to say it is a great thing that you guys doing on this program and giving this kind of advice to people, because it is always good to get advice from the reputable people who can give you the right advice. Because I have a brother who fall in that same situation, who was married in the U.S. and the relationship severed before he got his green card. And he was able to still go on and get his green card and still live in the U.S. Now for over 10 years. So it is important always to get information from the reputable people and not just get information from anyone. Absolutely. You can be easily misled and put in a situation that you didn't have to be in if you had get the right information in the first place. So I just want to say that, and that you guys are doing a great job in doing these kind of shows and giving information. Thank you guys very much.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Henry.
for that, Paul.
Yes.
I Nora, to piggyback on that, you would ask some, I've done consultation with people after and said, why didn't you just come to an attorney? I don't even care if you come to me, but just seek, an immigration attorney or, in Canada, I guess the consultants. Just pay the consultation fees, not much, because now one little mistake like that could cause them thousands of dollars later on.
Yeah.
And all they need to do is just one little consultation to be properly advised. I just don't get it why people do that.
Yeah, and don't take your legal advice from TikTok either. And not to say that there's not reputable persons aren't on TikTok, but usually if it sounds so super, they usually exaggerate a lot when they're giving false information. There are reputable lawyers. Opal is on TikTok, but we tend not to take the advice from those people on TikTok. We find all the videos that are shared 50 million times and with all kind of rubbish information. So just be careful where you get your advice from. And it doesn't hurt, as Opal said, to call a lawyer and get the advice from the lawyer's mouth. Okay? Someone on YouTube, Nadine, is asking, how long does a military spouse take to get permanent residence?
Well, they would have to do a spousal application, and normally the processing time is around about a year. I think they're taking a little bit longer right now, but I don't believe they would get priority processing because they're a military spouse. I don't know if it's different in the U.S. And Nora, just to add on to what the previous caller was saying, what I don't understand with a lot of persons is they don't want to pay to do a consultation, But when they get detained by immigration and it's now time to get into removal proceedings, they're able to find all the money in the world, because now you have to get funds or a bail person to set up a bond for you.
Yeah.
So it's like, find out what your options are before you lose your status. Thanks. No, Opal, I'm not sure if you can answer the question regarding the military spouse, if it's any different in the U.S.
No, it's the same thing. So if it was for the U.S., then you would file for that person.
All right. I think that's where we're going to leave it for the questions. For all the other questions coming in after, guys, remember the show starts at 9 o'clock. So if you have questions on Mondays, come early so that we can get the questions in from earlier on in the program. I'm going to allow you ladies to give your contact information once more, starting with you, Opal, and then Nadine.
Thank you. So for Opal Lee, the phone number in Jamaica is 876-854-3599. That's 876-854-3599. In the United States, it is 954-358-2020. That's 954-358-2020. If you wish to make an appointment, you may visit our website, www.flowjamlegal.com. You may also contact us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Our handle is at FlowJamLegal, FLOJAMLEGAL. Have a great, productive week, everyone. And those celebrating in the United States, happy Thanksgiving on Thursday when it comes. And I've already made my sorrel, so chances are if you come to my office, you might get a little tip. With or without, that brother, those brothers.
Nice.
And nephews.
I guess we need to book a trip, Nora.
I am just here thinking about how quickly I can get a flight up.
For Nadine Mahabir, our contact number in Jamaica, it is 876-754-4391. In Canada, it is 1-416-249-5885. That's 1-416-249-5885. Our email address is info@cdnintl.com. And happy Thanksgiving, Miss Lee, and to all our U.S. friends. Have a great week, everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies. Happy Thanksgiving, Opal, and all the others over there in the U.S. Do enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your week. That's where we're going to leave it for the Consumer Hour. Just before we go, want to say rest in peace, Jimmy Cliff, and condolences to his family and friends. Jimmy Cliff, a great, great, great reggae icon, music legend in general. And I also want to say congratulations to the Jamaican four-man bobsled team that got bronze medal in the North American Cup. So you sure it wasn't the four-man bobsled? Kevin telling me it's the two. Okay, so the two-man. All right, congratulations to the team in the North American team. Great work there in bobsled. Something we, you know the history about bobsled. We don't have any time, but yeah, we're gonna leave it there.
That was the Consumer Hour with Nora Gay Banton.
Nationwide